You see, in all reality, AI is the tool. AI is the new incentivized revolution that everyone has forgotten about. And I see many people talking about AI in the terms of starting a agency business for it, or just different entrepreneurial things when it comes down to that. And people find it useful to do X, Y, and Z, but no one's really thinking outside the box when it comes to AI and the innovation of it, and what this really means. And I believe that AI poses the greatest threat to all of us, and no one is stepping up to realize what's going on except a few individuals. So I'm gonna shine some light on that for you guys today. But I was coming across one of the tokens that a team brought to my attention, and for different investments that we're rolling out, for the crypto venture capital and all of that. But the ability, but see, this right here is a token called Tau, and on the BitSensor ecosystem, whatever their project is called, I've just begun to look into it, and I want to share with you guys some things that I've been articulating as well, and they also see, and then we'll dive deeper into it after we go over a couple of things that they have to say, when it comes to their ecosystem and what it is that they see into the future. The ability to write a multiplicity of BitSensor incentive systems and have them concurrently run with a single token ecosystem is not just cool, it's absolute essential for building decentralized organizations which can compete with the large corporations. Google has an AI team backed by a storage team plus a compute team all under one roof, whilst you, without our project, are forced to use 10 different token economic markets on 10 different blockchains. So when it comes down to what I want to extract from this, my point of bringing this up is, it is apparent to myself, it is apparent to other individuals that centralization is a major concern. Yeah, centralization is a major concern. And in all reality, we have to understand that this is a major concern. And as I put this back into full screen, the screen wanted to glitch out on us because we getting deep into this information right now. I want you to understand also that these big corporations are the enemy, and as I'm gonna get into that as I finish reading these though. So we have, gives you an all of, I just wanted to take from this one the reiteration of things like OpenAI and different things like that, and they're proposing their solution. I'm gonna just say this in layman's terms because many of you aren't going to understand what this is referring to unless you're inside of the crypto space and the back ends of it, to be specific. So essentially what's going on is they are proposing a solution to centralization by creating an ecosystem that is based in AI. So they're creating an ecosystem that is based in AI that allows for all of us to come together, for individuals like me and you, to write code, to get on there, write it however we want to write it. They have many different options, and be able to build upon it and utilize the computing resources that we wouldn't otherwise have access to in competition with things like OpenAI or these corporations. And so essentially they are proposing that the solution to this centralization is understanding that if we do not come together and build, utilize the tools that we have with this technology to build and decentralize, it will be centralized, and that's going to be a dangerous thing. So we have here is talking about essentially more what I just said, and then it's also saying that the excessive centralization of control, especially around AI, poses the greatest risk to the human race. The concentration of power inevitably creates biased decision making, controlled access to benefits, and significant abuse. Satoshi, the creator of Bitcoin, understood that the centralization of power over money inevitably creates corruption. This is the reason that Bitcoin sought to decentralize finance. This truth maps itself unto humankind's most valuable digital resource. AI must not be owned by the few for the same, an exponentially more dangerous threat. So one might ask, well, why is this posing such a great threat? Why would this be a more dangerous threat than even centralized fiat currency that the world we're currently existing in? Because think about it this way, right? AI in the wrong hands, AI in the current corporations themselves, they will have access to do everything. You know, AI itself, the power that it holds, is going to take over everything that makes the world run. I'm not saying we're going to have robots outside tomorrow that are doing all the work and all that stuff. That's what they want us to be talking about. That's what they want us to be thinking. But no, I'm talking about the very things that make this world run, which is the markets, which is trading firms, which is various things like that. And they can all be solved essentially by AI that's smart enough. That's a fact. AI trading, we already have algo trading and stuff like that in different markets, and it already has massive success. It's the reason why institutionalized traders win. Institutionalized corporations like BlackRock and all of that win. Imagine if they had AI though, because AI is not just going to execute that. It's going to compile all this data and it's going to learn ways to make it better. It's going to adapt on its own. It's going to be able to do certain things that, you know, it would take years for us to do on our own. So in all reality, if the tools of this are centralized, that poses a major threat that no one wants to talk about. You know, and many people want to sit back and think that the enemy is the policies, the enemy is the president, the governor, the congressman, the elected official of whatever country. The enemy is this law, this policy. The enemy is this skin color even. When in all reality, the truth is something that is much harsher to digest and much more difficult to accept. And that is, the enemy is corporations, and corporations are not governed by these laws. They're not governed by any of what I just named. They are governed by what they decide and what they decide alone, and they are not tied to one jurisdiction. In fact, the corporations that I would be referring to are very much international in every corner of the world. You know, so when it comes down to understanding that, you know, we have to stop allowing things to just be centralized, you know, and we must pose the threat to them by not allowing things to get to this point. You know, I see so many people that, you know, argue over land, getting land back and doing this, doing that for the ones that look like you and I. And when it comes down to it, right, that could always be achieved. But I think that the trick of the enemy, the trick of this game has always been to get us to focus on those things that are of no major importance or major threat right now, to neglect the things that we could be getting involved in order to advance our true cause. You know, and I think that a decentralized world, decentralized capitalism can exist. We've seen this. Bitcoin has proven. You see, many people just want to talk about, you know, the get money quick schemes and this and that. I could pull up a chart right now to show you that the majority of people by a large scale holding Bitcoin right now, are in possession of the technology right now, not only have a large amount of it, but have never moved it from their original purchase. They've not sold it, you know. So that goes to show and goes to tell that they create this illusion of inclusion by allowing certain things to take place as a gigantic smokescreen, you know, and wanting you to think certain things. We should be questioning why all of a sudden, you know, cryptocurrency in general is getting massive exposure. It's getting massive exposure. Apparently mass adoption. They approved the ETF. Why are they doing these things? They're not doing these things for your benefit. I can guarantee you that, you know, because once you look at the on-chain data and metrics, you will see that the majority of individuals having a say-so in these things, as far as the weight they hold within these networks and ecosystems, are institutionalized individuals, meaning that they have resources that the average person does not have. They have hundreds of millions of dollars at their disposal, and they own a large portion of these things. Is that a bad thing? No, because the technology from the very beginning was set up to where it doesn't matter how much of one thing that a person holds. It really doesn't. That wasn't the purpose in the creation of the technology. It wasn't. The purpose in the creation of the technology was projects like this. projects like this that see what it is that is happening, centralization, and understands that this technological advancement and push forward will allow us to do things in a decentralized manner. It opened the door up for us to try to do those things that way. We have the choice as humans right now to choose to create decentralized systems instead of centralized aspects and systems. And that is what the creation purpose of it was, and that's what, you know, the intellectual individuals will utilize it for, because in all reality, you know, I believe that decentralized capitalism, which is proposed in this project, you guys can go look it up. It's, you know, you've seen it, it's TAO, and you can go read their white paper, go read their website. All of this, it was pulled directly from those two things, and I want you to go and see how what they propose is the perfect example of what it is that I believe the mindset we should take on as well. Understanding that decentralized capitalism is a better way for us to live in this earth. I'm not one of those individuals that's, you know, let's just all get a certain amount and just share with everybody. No. Individuals that work harder should get more. And there will always be individuals that have more than everyone else, for sure, no matter what system we put in place. But decentralized capitalism allows for those that are truly the best at what they do get the best reward. You see, we must understand that a centralized aspect of this game that has now been introduced into very recent times heavily over centralized, we must understand that this aspect creates monopolies within and of itself. It creates and allows certain individuals to hold more power, not because they are better. If it was because they were better, you wouldn't hear me say anything about it. These individuals are not better than us. They are not better at the game than us. They are not more intelligent than us. None of the above. They simply understood leverage, and they understood centralization. They understood different other, you know, emotional manipulation, as far as, you know, the social engineering aspect of these games, the social engineering aspect of wealth building and just overall success. They understood that, used that as leverage to centralize certain things. And now they have a dominance that, you know, other individuals can't even begin to compete with, even if they are better, because everything is over centralized. The individuals that are actually the best coders right now, that are actually having the best ideas and so on and so forth, must do what? To even do what they're trying to do, they have to receive the funding. They must get fiat currency to further their true cause. And I would argue that AI, cryptocurrency, these technological advancements are more valuable than our fiat currency. You know, and that's why we see certain individuals doing certain things, because in the near future, you know, just like what they're proposing, I'm sure they won't be the only ones. You know, you will be able to sell different data sets. You'll be able to sell data sets, and you'll be able to buy data sets. What will you use those data sets for? Those data sets are one of the most valuable resources that this world has to offer. Data sets within and of itself is exactly why these tech companies are so wealthy. Of course they're giving it away. Of course they're allowing ads to be ran. Of course they're doing all of that. That was their business play from the very beginning. You see, many of you guys don't understand the dangers of AI in the wrong hands, because when you really think about the technology, if that is centralized and if that is owned by a small number of corporations and they have the smartest, the best, then that means that all they have to do is put it onto social media, put it into these different, you know, apps that everyone goes to. It will learn and it will adapt and it will understand every micro expression on your face to know exactly what to sell to you, to know exactly how to further take from you. We will really be, like, truly be in a techno-feudalistic society. And, you know, that's not something that I think many of us agree with or many of us want. And, you know, the technology is currently in place to be decentralized in nature.